Hello, today we are discussing about a gay and his poem Hiroshima. First of all, we know something about a gay. A gay is the pseudonym of Sachidanand Hiranand Vatsyayan. He was born at Lahore in March 1911 and died at Delhi on 4th April 1987. His father, Hiranand, was a great archaeologist, and Agay was a major Hindi poet, novelist, critic, editor, and journalist. In the early poems of Agay, he was deep sympathy, sorrowful feelings, and a call of revolution. His first collection of poems, uh, Bhagnadoot, was published before independence, but his later poems are more beautiful and impressive and touching. Agay was a pillar of Hindi poetry of modern age, highly esteemed novelist and original thinker. He was the exponent of few poetry in Hindi and a force to reckon with. His places of work were mainly Lucknow and Delhi. His work are two numbers to be count. Some of these are Bhagna Doot, Chinta, Nandi ke Dweep, etc. He edited a book, Taj Saptak. A few years ago, his name was considered for the Nobel Prize for Literature, but it could not materialize for want of lobbying and the fact that most of work were not translated into English. The poem Hiroshima was originally written in Hindi and was later on it was translated from Hindi to English by Agay himself and Leonard Nathan. Agay was a student of science. He got regular education in the study of atom, how radioactive atom affect people, and studied all this till one day. Atomic fission took place in the world. He had theoretical knowledge of radioactivity and its effect of humanity and other living beings. When an atom bomb was dropped on Hiroshima on 6 August 1945, he was in close touch with the news and its side effect. He was generally disturbed in mind and wrote a few articles also, but did not compose a poem about it. He had some experiences of seeing some action of war when he was a journalist on the extreme frontier of India. Then Agay got an opportunity of going to Japan. There he went to Hiroshima also and saw the hospital, the patients lying there for years and suffering untold pain due to radioactivity. Thus he got practical experience which led to deep sympathy. He did not compose a poem then and there. He did not write anything even after seeing all this in Hiroshima. The bomb killed or seriously wounded so many people. Then he came across a sign stone having some bright shadow on it. He thought that some vehicle might have stood there at the time of explosion. The people in the vehicle were changed into ashes. This is how Agay saw the atomic tragedy written on that burned stone. Felt as if he had seen the atomic explosion with his own eyes. Then all of a sudden he composed a poem that is Hiroshima, not in Japan, but sitting in the train after returning to India. Now we come to the poem uh, Hiroshima. On 6th August 1945, the Allied force led United States of America dropped atomic bomb on Japanese city Hiroshima. Another bomb was dropped on Nagasaki on 9th of August 1945, forcing Japan to surrender and thus bringing an end to the Second World War. The Japanese surrendered on the 14th August 1945. Gay described this specific event of bombing of Hiroshima in this poem. It was after a gay visit to Hiroshima that the composed this poem after his return to India. He had absorbed all the details and, like English poet Wordsworth, expressed his emotions recollected in tranquility. He described the actual event of the city being bombed as well as the effect on people there. He presents a factual account of what happened and now it happened, but the same time present its tragic effect on the inhabitants of Hiroshima. The blaze created by bomb was like a blaze of the sun, but it did not inmate for the east, but from the earth which was torn open. The people confused this blaze with the blaze of the sun. It killed thousands of people in one time. The skin of their bodies was peeled off uh, in an instant, and they were merely lump of flesh. The sun has life giving attributes, but the poet presents death, dealing attribute of the bomb. Agay has contrasted shadow and substances, light and dark, the natural, the sun, and the man-made, the bomb. In this poem, the human shadow did not get lengthened, become pale and die. The people became mist and then passed into nothingness. The stone of the uh, city stone of the city streets, as well as the rocks were left with burn marks. During his visit to Hiroshima, Agay has seen a burnt stone having some bright shadow on it. He concludes that some vehicle might have been stood there at the time of the explosion. Everything was reduced to the ashes. People were converted into air, no to nothingness. The burnt rocks, having with shadow on them, witness of the tragic uh, catastrophe. Then in the opening lines of the poem Hiroshima, composed by Agay, originally Hindi and then translated into English, Agay has described the specific event when an atom bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Agay wrote this poem after a visit to Japan, and Agay has given a graphic description of great devastation caused by the atom bomb. The poet has compared atom bomb with the sun. The sun rises in the eastern sky, but the bomb rose right in the city square. He has contrasted shadow and substance, light and dark, and the natural sun and the man-made atom bomb. The poem has been written in free verse. This is a very unique poem, and a miserable misery is there in his poem. A gay feels so emotional and sympathizes, and slightly feels horrible in this poem. Thank you.